Hey guys, Steve Zalunardo here with Remax West Zalunardo Associates. This is the story of the month. It's just a recent story. I'll go right into it. We had an opportunity to go visit one of our clients' property that we had the opportunity to help out with the purchase. It's located up in Tobermory. Fantastic place. And be cautious on whose opinion you take, especially with your own investments. And I'm talking like your professionals, like either it's your realtor, your lawyer, your accountant, whatever it is. Just be cautious on who you're taking advice on. And you'll see the moral of the story later on. And what this the cause and effect that could have actually happened if we didn't go through with this particular deal. We had a great opportunity to represent these clients last year in their cottage. Their cottage has been a dream of theirs for their whole lives, so it was very important to them. We were looking for a couple months, and I've actually had a colleague out in that neck of the woods, about 100 kilometers from my office, actually doing all the driving and the showings and helping out my clients. It's due to the distance, I couldn't make it out naturally. But so we finally find a property. It's right in our client's budget. It's literally $300,000. My client has a $300,000 budget. If you ever tried to find a cottage for $300,000, very difficult. Even in last year after COVID, everything started to ramp up. We had like a little bit of a lull period with cottages once in March when COVID really struck. It was a good opportunity to buy cottages because people couldn't afford them, especially because Airbnb was shut. So we had a good opportunity here to buy a cottage, which we did. So what happens is this cottage here, about 3.5 hours northwest of where I'm currently located in my office. Yeah, so we had a colleague out just basically showing my client properties. So we find a property, so we submit an offer. So my job is, I micromanage the whole thing. I just didn't hand off my client to another colleague. I handled the whole thing, micromanaged it. So basically negotiated the offer. We wrote up the offer. We discussed the terms on Airbnb. We dealt with the legal aspect of it, and also the home inspection, kind of go through it in detail, especially the rural property. So you're going to have a septic tank. So there's a lot of things you should be watching out for here. And plus it's a cottage, you don't know how they're built. Sometimes these things are thrown together and it could be a disaster waiting to happen. But this property was mint. All the main arteries were complete. So after looking at the deal itself, the condition of the property was mint. It was definitely pride of ownership. All the main arteries were done on the property. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, exterior cladding. The roof was done, insulation. Crawl space was dry. Like usually they have a must smell, these cottages, but this was A1. After running the performa on it, made sure the location was good, it would make money, and obviously the condition of the property, which we just mentioned. Now it's time to go for negotiation. So clients have a budget of $300K, and this is all we got. So basically, seller was asking $315,000. We gave him a hard $300K, take it or leave it offer. They accepted. Why? Because I mentioned earlier, Airbnb wasn't open at this point, and what happens is obviously he can't make the income that he's normally having, so it was a cost out of personal account basically. And then what happened after that was we capitalized because he actually purchased another property, so we needed this money to go for another property. So not to mention that the property was mint, fully renovated and done, and money-making opportunity with a full booked roster of Airbnb, but it also came fully furnished. It's a dream property. And again, I think fast forward into today, my clients would never have an opportunity to buy a cottage. You probably would never have a cottage if we didn't pull the trigger last year. So now a home inspection came through. We'll just fast forward after the deal here. We negotiated. Now we're under the home inspection and the legal aspect of it. So the home inspection came out good. There was a few points that needed to be addressed, but very minor stuff the seller was willing to do, which he agreed upon. And now we have the lawyer's review, which is solicitor's review is basically the lawyer looks at the deal, makes sure that it's viable. There's not any risk factors to my client. So we're 95% done. And what happens is, it's a no-brainer. It's a freehold, detached. Everything is mint. The lawyer just basically got to sign off on it, or at least gives us the green light, and we can sign off and execute the deal. So what happens is my client calls me, panicked, hyperventilating, in hyper stress mode, talking about that the lawyer told him to kill the deal. And I was so confused. I didn't understand why. I was like, did we miss something? Is there some sort of something with the land? Is there some sort of easement that we didn't catch? It was it got me wondering, because naturally that's why that lawyer's there, to kind of review if there's anything attached to the title. But ultimately there was nothing. So I asked him, this is my son Nicholas. Say hi, Nicholas. Nicholas is going to spend the rest of this video with me. After we went through all those details, there was no issues with any of that. Okay, so that would have been disclosed to me by the realtor. He was very professional, that he was the seller also. So I had to ask why are we killing the deal? You got to give me some more information here. And basically what the lawyer said was that there's too much risk where the transfer the Airbnb over to the new purchasers, which I was a little confused by this. I didn't understand, because what would be the big deal? We got a full roster. My clients take possession in July all the way to September rather. They're going to be making $2,000 to $3,000 per week It's already booked roster. So what happens with that is like, we kind of look at it. So we have a money-making property. We have a fully renovated property to do no legwork to make it a successful investment. It's pretty much a no-brainer, like logically. So what I did, we had one or two choices what to do here. Either we succumb to the lawyer and what he's saying and take it in a weight of gold and kill the deal because of to transfer the Airbnb title over or the bookings, or do we do a little bit more research here and kind of understand where he's coming from. My thought process was clear. Obviously, I realize the lawyers. And again, let me just do a side note here. As professionals, and including myself, we deal with risk legalities all day in litigation. So it's one of those deals where we become risk adverse. We deal with risk all day. So it's basically assessment of risk, how not to get in litigation and legality. So this is what we're doing every day. So especially a lawyer, I mean, this is their whole job. So what happens with that is that we were more scared to do deals because we're always looking at the risk factor versus the reward. And what happens with that is we get sort of like paralysis in investing, including myself. I mean, I missed out on a few deals where I was just late to the game basically and someone snagged the deal before me. So that's including myself. But also there's many of these professionals that do business like myself and investment sake. So what I told my client to do was basically call back your lawyer and see what he owns. What kind of investments does he have? Kind of feel him out, as we got to respect them as a lawyer because that's, they're great at what they do, but are they great at investing? Are they great in risking? And that's why I had my client call him back and kind of go through the process. How much real estate do you own? How much investments do you have? Have you done any Airbnbs in the past? Obviously, I knew there was nil that was going to be part of that equation of his portfolio. So after my client calls me back, he says, yeah, he's got no investments. I said, that's why we can't take his word for it. Like, ultimately, we know the property is good. Like, we had to weigh all the pros and cons again. We had to say, property is good. It's fully renovated. It's fully booked. The inspection came out clean. It's at your budget. Like, we got to strike this deal and be done with it, which we did. And thank God we did, because ultimately, if we waited, because after Airbnbs opened up, the cottages went skyrocketing. My clients would never be able to purchase a cottage ever again in their lives. And this was their dream forever. So, I mean, ultimately, if you look at that, and that lawyer would have had no remorse, nor would he care. He would have got paid for the review of this offer. He would have got paid his $1,500 to $2,000 to review everything. But ultimately, my clients would never have a cottage in their lives. What I'm trying to say is, like, be cautious in who you take, especially investment advice. I think ultimately you got to look at your professionals and look at them, what they do. Like a lawyer, he's going to be weighing the cons rather, and take them all. Weigh all your cons. But you, as an investor, as an entrepreneur, have to create the pros. You have to envision the future. And naturally, if you're dealing with a professional that has real estate and has investments and is doing it well and doing it successful, obviously you're already winning there, because they're going to guide you through that transaction and your future growth and wealth. Hey guys, this is the end of the video, and this is my son Nicholas. He's going to send us off with a. What should they do? Should they like? Should they share? Yeah? Should they subscribe? What else? You want to say it, bud? No. Like, share, subscribe. Okay, yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. If you like the video, please reach out. Leave your comments. If you have any questions, always reach out on my socials or my direct line. And we'll catch you in the next one. Ciao. Say bye. Bye.